Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new Bloons TD 6 video where today we're going to do something really stupid where I'm just going to go ahead and beat round 1 with a Legend of the Night for some reason, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Nah, I'm just kidding, that's not it. You guys know that's not it, right? So in the past I've managed to go all the way up to around 500,000 before my computer or the game crashed, but this time things are different. I've got a way better computer and I want to see to it that we are going to do way better this time. So what I want to do in today's video, as you guys probably can't tell by again the title of this video, I'm going to go and try to hit round 1 million, and we're going to keep trying until we hit it. So let's actually start this game and let's actually fast forward this while I do a bit of explanation as to what is going on. It actually says to maximum fast forward speed, in this case it's 100 times speed while I talk. So now a lot of people like to try getting to the highest round in Bloons TD 6, like going past round 100, because it seems that all the rounds are pre-generated, and you know, if you can go past a certain round, you're pretty good at the game, and of course you will be good at the game if you manage to do so. But there are some problems, because as the rounds go on, it gets way harder to deal with mud class balloons because there's more health and they go faster and yada yada. Because of that, no matter how much cash you end up having, at some point it will just become flat out impossible for you to reach a certain round. But with a little bit of modifications, we can actually accomplish this. So first off, we're going to utilize the Legend of the Night ability, where no matter what balloons leak, it doesn't matter, because the Legend of the Night ability can actually absorb an infinite number of balloons. And well, admittedly this is not exactly the best map for us to test this on, but it allows us to see what goes on. Why I say it's not the best map is because Legend of the Night can still hit the balloons, and slightly problematic, but that's fine. Eventually it won't be able to defeat the balloons. So anyway, as you might know, the Legend of the Night ability lasts for up to 8 seconds, but with a little tinkering in the challenge editor, we can actually change our luck a little bit. So while this is going on in the background, let's actually take a look at the custom challenge that I have made specifically for this video. Now, as you might have noticed, instead of going for blondes, which we did last time, I've decided to go with cubism because it's a longer map and I want to see exactly what balloons comes out. As you can see, we basically have all the modifiers that can help us, especially a 5% ability cooldown rate. But what you might not know is that as of version 33.0, Legend of the Night cooldown increased from 120 seconds to 180 seconds. So this means with the 5% ability cooldown prior to the version 33.0, it will last 6 seconds. That means the ability will come back up in 6 seconds, and that's fine because the ability lasts 8 seconds by itself. But this time, even with 5% ability cooldown, it won't last for 6 seconds. It will only come back up after 9 seconds, and that's going to be a huge problem for us because the ability lasts 8 seconds, but it only refreshes in 9 seconds. So there's this 1 second where balloons can leak and you will instantly die. So how are we getting around this? Well, rather than giving ourselves infinite lives, we've decided to do a bit of hackery, where not only do we have this ability cooldown rate, we also set our ability cooldown to absolutely 0, as you can see here. So our ability cooldown has been set to 0 for this challenge. And with that, we are able to get the Legend of the Night abilities uptime to 100%. Now, if you haven't touched this game for a long time, you might actually not know this, but basically since update version 25.0 and 26.0, rounds 101 to rounds 140 is actually all pre-generated. So basically we all know what is going to happen during these rounds, kind of like rounds 1 to 100, just for consistency purposes. And the reason for that is because of boss events, which if you don't know what it is, you've been living under a rock, let's be honest. So round 140 ends with 2 bats, one of which is fortified. And what happens after round 140? Well, it's anyone's guess, because basically anything can spawn from Moabs to bats. That's about it. And whether they are fortified or not, it doesn't matter because they all can be fortified or not. The only thing that isn't fortified from rounds 141 to onwards is the bats, at least for now. But this stops until round 162, because at round 163, something else comes into the mix. And in round 163, we have a bunch of fortified regrowth ceramic balloons, and a bunch of lab bloons as well, and a bunch more cell mix. And basically, it's a bit random, but it's basically a mix of all of these, which kind of makes 163 quite interesting because it's sort of a counterpart for 163. So that's a bit weird. But regardless, from round 164 onwards, things go back to normal. And as you might have noticed, the bloons are actually slightly faster than its round 100 counterparts. I can't tell if you guys can tell or not, but as we progress further into the rounds, the difference will be quite obvious. So let's just leave this running until round 199. So this round 199, and the next round is round 200, where there's a guaranteed 2 fortified bats, and you'll be surprised to find out that it takes quite a lot of damage to break them. So there's this thing in bloons called RBE, which stands for Red Bloon Equivalence. In other words, how many pops or other hits from one damage projectiles it takes for you to defeat all of these bloons. And normally, a bat shell has roughly 20,000 health points, and its fortified version has 40,000 health points. But in free play, all of these stats scale. Now, just a reminder, this is 1 time speed, so you might not notice the speed differences, but if we set to normal speed and just fast forward it, I don't know if you can tell, but it moves at a really quick pace for bat. But this is not going to be it. You're going to see bats move way faster later on. At round 200, both of these bats combined will have 3.9 million RBE. Now that's a lot compared to the round 100 bat, which granted is not fortified, but it only has 67,000 RBE. That's a huge difference compared to close to 4 million RBE. Now after that, the rounds are still randomized, but from here on out you can actually start getting fortified bats, like you can see right here. You won't get that many fortified bats at the start, but over time you will. And the amount of fortified bats and the chances of you getting it will increase tremendously very soon. And this pattern basically continues until round 263, which is basically a repeat of round 163, except this time it's just random webs, 45 webs, and 45 DETs, and that's about it. So it's more of like round 95 in a sense. So let's actually skip to round 263. So here's round 263. This is regular speed, okay? I'm fast forwarding this at 3 times speed, which is a normal speed. And as you notice, these DETs are moving extremely fast, even for DET, and even these 45 moves. Like even you fast forward this, man, it moves extremely fast. I mean, even these UMGs and the bats, like now it's pretty clear that these things are moving way faster. Not to mention that, yeah, it's pretty intense if you ask me. And basically, all the rounds from here on out will be randomized until round 9999. But let's actually hit some milestones first to see what the difference, or rather how much health and speed there is to all these bloons. So here's round 500, and it's a bunch of bats, and these bats are moving extremely fast. And let's take a look at the ramping. So the speed is 10 times its normal speed, or rather close to 11 times, and its health is 491.5 times, and that's a lot of health. And unfortunately, in free play, you don't really earn a lot of XP because of the immense amount of XP reduction. So in this case, you only earn about 4,212 XP. And what's interesting is that there's actually some guaranteed bats that you can see on the stat screen, which I think is pretty interesting. But it does guarantee that, yeah, if you actually want to play this for real, you will die, because let's actually take the health of a bat into account, and let's calculate how much health a shell would have. So taking 40,000 health multiplied by 491.5 times health, that gives us 19.6 million health points for a fortified bat, and that's just for this layer. It's not even counting the 0 MGs or DETs underlaying it. So yeah, that's quite a lot of health for the bat, for you to deal against the bats. But this is just round 500. How about round 1000? Okay, so let's take a look at round 1000, and oh my god, you saw those oh my god, look at how fast the DET just zipped by. And in case you guys couldn't tell, the speed is now 21 times compared to round 1. So it's double the speed of round 500, and its health has been increased tremendously to 29.91.5 times its health. In other words, a 45 bat takes up 119.6 million health just for its outer layer, and that's quite a lot of damage, which the Legend Knight doesn't account for because let's be honest, it's going to be impossible for you to calculate his health. So yeah, that is a lot of health for you to consider. But we're not done yet. Let's actually go further and see what round 5000 looks like. Okay, so this is round 5000. As you might have noticed, the Bloons are moving extremely fast because this time it's at 100.96 speed, and this one's going to take quite a while even with this faster forward speed on, and this is regular faster forward, this is unmodded, and as you can see from its health, it is 22,991.5 times its health. So in other words, a 45 bat will take up 920 million health. So yeah, that's a lot. I don't know what to say, but let's get forward to round 9,999. Okay, so it finally hit round 9,999, and yeah, the stats are pretty insane, with a 45 bat health layer amounting up to 1 billion health points. Like, oh my god, it's 1 billion health points, and not to mention the speed is 200 times, so that's double the speed of round 5000. And if we look at the amount of XP you could potentially earn, it's 89,000 XP. And you notice round 10,000, let's actually slow this down for a while and pause it. So let's take a look at what comes out at round 10,000. In case you guys didn't notice, it's 145 bats, and this is all pre-generated. So yeah, 145 bats around 10,000. Why did Ninjakill add this? I have no idea, because as far as I know, no one has legitimately got to around 10,000 minus, you know, Legend Knight challenges like this. So why was this pre-generated? Who knows? But round 1001 is pretty interesting because it has 9,999 fortified summits, which you could see here, and round 1000 and 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 5 have 100 more SPF, 0 MGs, and DTs, all of which are not fortified. And from round 10,006 onwards, you would have 145 bats. And yeah, I don't know how to say this, but that's quite a darn lot, don't you guys think? And yes, I'm serious when I say that anything past round 10,000 is just 45 bats. I'm not kidding. It's all just bats. There's no DTs, no mods, because at this point, why need them? They're all going too fast, as if you can even beat one of these 45 bats, which may remind you, is more than 1 billion healths. And I'm not fast forwarding this, which you can see right here. And yeah, if you can tell me you can beat a 45 bat in less than 1 second with 1 billion health points, then I applaud you. And just a reminder, if you are thinking about using Never to Seize, yeah, the ability can only hook in 3 45 webs at once, and that's not to mention ability cooldown. So yeah. So what happens at round 100,000? Well, we have a lot of cash for starters, and that is just from the end of round cash, may I remind you. Yes, end of round cash. And as you can probably tell, it's not that the bats are bugged, but you know, it's moving a little bit too fast for our eyes to comprehend. So yeah, and not to mention, these bats have close to 20 billion, yes, billion with a B, health. At around 200,000, well, it just looks like the bats are just moving back and forth across a straight line, which is extremely fast. If I can slow it down frame by frame, I will, but I don't think you guys can actually see much even if I try to. So yeah, I'll show you guys on screen what it looks like. At 300,000, yeah, at this point it's impossible to even see the speeds, even if I were to slow it down to an infinite amount. But yeah, this is pretty intense. 400,000 is the same as what we see in round 200,000, where yeah, you just see 2 bats on screen at once, which is pretty darn intense. And I don't need to show you guys what it looks like over there. Now here's something interesting, however. Here's round 429,560, and here is round 561, and this is at slow speed. And in the wiki, it says that around 429,562 onwards, there will be absolutely nothing that comes out from here, which I don't think that's the case. It might be pushed back slightly, but let's actually head to around 500,000. Nope, you can still see balloons at around 500,000. So it's not the point where nothing shows up just yet. And I honestly have no idea why this happens. Even the Vwrqh doesn't seem to have a good explanation, because it says after around 429,562 balloons will stop spawning due to memory limitations, but I can't tell if it's just because I have a better computer or the person who updated the Vwrqh this is quite old, but you can still see balloons around 500,000, so this has to be updated a bit. Oh, I think we found the special one, because from around 536, actually I don't remember the number, I'll just put it on screen, but yeah, at that round, that is when nothing appears. Maybe because the Instakill has improved the memory limitations, but yeah. Absolutely nothing happens on this round. And as you might notice, we might have a slight problem of having, I don't know, negative amounts of cash, and yeah, might be because, you know, there's this thing called integer overflow. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that at some points the game just refuses to spawn absolutely anything, and I suspect it's because of the amount of health that the bats have. So I went back and checked the footage again, and I found out that it was exactly around 536,928 onwards where, you know, nothing spawns. So let's actually take a look at the stats for both rounds 536, 927 and 28. So around 536,927, if you take a look at the health of the bats, you can see that it has 107,305,060,000, which for some reason doesn't trigger anything at all, but when the next round hits, the bat have 107,305,260,000. Now, what the difference is between those two numbers, it's very minuscule. But yeah, I do find it quite interesting that, you know, there's a sort of limit on what the heck happened here. So if anyone of you can figure out what happened here, why the round limit has suddenly increased before nothing spawns, then do let me know, because this is pretty interesting. But according to the Vwrqh, this thing, or this effect, ends at around 859,057. But as you know earlier, when this effect started, it started later than expected. So we can also expect this to end later than we expect. So let's wait this out, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so now it's already past round 900,000. I kind of expected this effect to end already, but it hasn't ended. So when will it end? I don't know. But will it end before round 1 million, which is the goal of this video? And actually, in case you guys didn't notice, the play button is not even on. Like, for reference, my auto start is on. So why this play button isn't working is because nothing is spawning, which is pretty interesting, I must say. But sure, let's wait until round 1 million, and let's see what happens. And will we begin any sense of normalcy at round 1 million? The answer is no. Okay, honestly, this is slightly underwhelming, but let's take a look at the stats and what happens at round 1 million. So the speed of my class balloons is 20,000 times its normal speed in round 1, which is a lot, but clearly there's nothing spawning because the play button is still inactive here. So yeah, this means nothing is spawning at all, and not to mention rounds won't last for less than a second if that's the case. But if we were to take the health of a 45 bat and multiply it with what number is this? 4,997,991.5 times, and you get close to 200 billion health, which is in a logarithmic scale, it's not really that huge of a difference, but yeah, it's still quite a lot of health for you to deal with. So let's wait a while and see when this effect ends, because I'm actually kind of curious. I'd like to do a little bit of research here. Oh, okay, so this effect ends at around 1,073,799, which is Whoa, that's a really long round, and the balloons are moving so fast that we couldn't even see them on screen for one goddamn second. And keep in mind, this is all supposed to be 45 bets, and let's actually slow things down. And as you can see absolutely nothing. Yeah, this is kind of impossible to beat if you're trying this normally. So yeah, or actually, you know what? We can see a little bit of the bet at the start of the track, which is slightly hilarious, but also kind of maddening to know that you can't even see any balloons over here. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, the balloons are moving so fast that even Legend of the Night can't even attack. So if I were to replace it over here, like, look, it's just jumping entire frames. Like, it's just skipping all the way to the end of the map. And Legend of the Night can't even attack the balloons. Even if it's supposedly within range of the track that is, you know, supposed to attack from. So yeah, I think that's a quite an interesting issue that we are kind of dealing with. But then again, this is not something that you will see in an actual game. But yeah, we've set out what we have accomplished, or what we wanted to accomplish in this video, and that was to get beyond round 1 million. And yeah, this was pretty intense and it was pretty fun. And that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like if you like this video, leave a comment if you want to, you know, yell at me or give me suggestions for new videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.